the people, you don't turn off their microphones when they are speaking about the importance of life and liberty. That is not what a democracy does.
We understand when we took an oath to represent the people who elected us, that we speak on behalf of them. It wasn't about the three of these leaders. It was about who they were representing. It's about whose voices they were channeling. Understand that. And is that not what a democracy allows? A democracy says you don't silence the people. You do not.
Yes, welcome back. CNN Don Lemon cry racism. According to this article, Tennis House vote to expel 2 members, vote to remove Johnson face.
Tennessee has now given the entire country an object lesson in critical race theory better than any AP history course ever could have, right? Everybody sees it now. Everybody knows it now. Everybody gets exactly what's going on. To Harry's point about the Supreme Court, any argument that this was about decorum or the House rules in Tennessee, that the Republicans took that argument off the table for the rest of us when they decided not to expel the white lady, but they did expel the 2 black men, right? So that, I think, opens them up to a legal challenge that's even more serious than how I thought it was going to roll 3 hours ago.
State Representative Gloria Johnson, a former teacher, narrowly avoided expulsion in the wake of her call with 2 colleagues for actions to combat gun in schools. Nashville, Tennessee State Representative Gloria Johnson avoided expulsion on Thursday, but 2 of her fellow Democrats did not, as members of the State House voted on measures to remove them from the legislative body. Johnson and State Representative Justine Persons of Memphis and Justine Jones of Nashville last week called for the legislature to act to address gun, doing so in the chamber in a way that Republicans said was against the rule. Members voted to expel Jones and Persons, who are both black. Johnson is white. That is where the problem is coming in. I myself am really asking this question. How can this even happen? Because they all almost committed the same crime. Voting to expel these black people is now on social media. Everywhere there is racism. I want you to know your thought pertaining to this situation, because when I look into what happened, she narrowly escaped this, just by a small margin. They voted, the 2 were expelled. Because in a situation like this, when people commit crimes like what they believe they did, it was just easy, to fire them.
At Tennessee's Capitol as lawmakers expelled 2 Democratic state representatives. Gloria Johnson, well, she survived the vote, and she claims that's because of racism.
I think it's pretty clear I'm a 60-year-old white woman, and they are 2 young black men. I was talked down to as a woman, mansplained to, but it was completely different from the questioning that they got.
Tennessee State Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, was there yesterday, and he joins us now. Thank you so much for being with us. So you heard Representative Johnson's characterizations of the questions about their behavior on the well that day, and her explanation for why she survived and the other 2 were expelled. What's your reaction?
Well, I mean, that's a false narrative on her part. She had 2 attorneys in the well, and if you go back and look at the opening, her attorney, John Mark Wendell, came out strong, made a lot of points that she was not as active a participant as the other 2. She didn't grab the bullhorn. Their statements have representation. Some of the members chose it felt that she was not as active participant in leading the protest on the House.
In fact, isn't that the argument she made to you, that she wasn't as active as the other two who were expelled? I'm reading a quote from her. She said, "I went to the well. As long as this microphone was on, I stood with them. As long as this microphone was on, they spoke and didn't yell. And when we called a recess, I think that's when the megaphone came out. I absolutely never yelled. This is about me as I understand it. I didn't speak in a voice as any other member on this floor. Make what you will." So she is making an argument, it sounds, that she behaved differently than the two that were expelled. And yet when you hear her go on CNN, she's saying it's because she's white and they are black.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. She's trying to put political racism in this, which there was nothing on this. They were all given due process. They were all three that were up there. They all three went for expulsion. Even the Tennessean said that they led the protest from the House floor. And so she made her statements. She separated herself. Actually, she separated herself from the other two and said, "I didn't have the megaphone. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I just stood there with them alongside them." And so she made her case that she, as you said, did not do what they did on the House.
Yeah, I mean, if were this a court of law, that would be the witness being impeached on cross-examination, making conflicting statements to you in her making a case not to be expelled, and to CNN in making the case that it was.
Yes, I think this is the best explanations you can get. This is the House Speaker explaining what happened exactly. This political racism they are crying up and down. It is something I understand will obviously be like that. There is no single thing when you do just shooting away from a black person. The first thing that will be coming out from people like you have seen here, is political racism. They discriminated against a black person and allowed a white woman. The message is very clear. That is what they're saying. And I have been saying this for some time. This should not always be the talking point. It's not everything that we should surround with issue of race, which I know some people like Joy Reid. He's a race beta, so he works money through this means. So when anything is coming out of her mouth, I don't doubt. I don't think this is actually solving the issue. They committed a crime and they all voted. I believe some Democrat even voted against some of these people. So at the end of the day, it happens that these black were unfortunate to get the vote.
Why the two black Democrats were expelled, and the woman, the white woman, who she acknowledged she believes race played a role in that, survived by one vote.
They could have done a censure, right? I think the right question was, why take the most drastic action afterwards?
Because this is what Democrats would have done, right? Let's just say the roles were reversed, right? Okay, and Democrats had control, and that was a conservative protest.
On protesting, not everyone protests aren't perfect. It's also unconscious bias. It's racism. It's a double standard in our society. Obviously, I have to say, I would doubt they would have done this to white members.
Yes, to summarize this all, Democrats could obviously do the same thing. Republicans are actually understanding what they do every day. They used to have this kind of, pity. Maybe they'll allow you to see continue, give you some kind of warning. But the way Democrats have been doing over some time, just a least mistake, you have been stripped of your duty. You have been expelled. So crying about racism is something I don't get, though I'm not actually happy with what happened. They needed to expel these three at once. Thank you guys for being there, supporting me, sharing all my videos. God bless you.